Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video, no, it's not a joke. My best key here, and this will probably be the best key I do, I think, before before Chimera goes live in the game. We're on the test server. My best key for Chimera has featured none other than Skeletor. Yep, it's true, none other than Skeletor. So, first of all, big shout out to Boozor, who is obviously, look at his team, look at my team. Very much built off of his team idea. I thought he had a great video. Very clear, these enemy max HP champs are bonkers. He used a snick track. We used Skeletor. What was the difference? And I'll show you some other teams I ran as well. I've actually gone and got 153 million here on Ultra Nightmare, which is pretty nice, actually. If we look at the chest requirement, 112 million is what you need for the ultimate chest. So we've almost exceeded it by 50%, but I don't know, like 40% or something. But yep, Skeletor coming in pretty hard in Ultra Nightmare. I'll show you another couple of variations of this that I ran to prove to you that it's not I'm not actually messing, guys. Now, I have seen some comments. People don't like me. Said, dude, why? This is on my Skeletor is not trash. How stupid do you think we are? It's clickbait. Skeletor is not trash. Every champion ibvluding noble has at least one positive thing you can say about them. Doesn't change the fact it's still trash. Clickbait for the sake of monetization. Actions speak action speak louder than words. Nub Raids needs money. He does it for the money. We're doing it for the money, boys. We're doing it for the money. Also, I want to shout out Mr. Lumpy. So I think Skeletor would be useful in Chimera. You get a gold star, Mr. Lump. You did good. Well done, you. I'm proud. Why is Skeletor good? There are alternatives. Now, the main reason that he is good is he brings decreased speed and decreased attack on a 3-turn cooldown. So it's very reliable, decreased speed, decreased attack against this boss. And these are probably the two most important debuffs to survive and have control of the fight. On top of that, his A1 is amazing. This debuff extension, while it's inconsistent, can actually add up to a lot. And this will be extremely good as well if you are willing to do a little bit of manual on the fight. It will actually add up to a lot because it will let you use his A1 to keep debuffs up for an entire Chimera phase and save your champion cooldowns to throw out when the Chimera switches. Tricky to get that to work. I don't know how to get it to work yet on auto. Right, it's very hard to speed tune and stuff like that. His A3 is somewhat useful if you're going full auto against the Viper. The Viper is extremely... I'm going to walk you through the whole fight, guys. The Viper is super nasty. When it steals block debuffs, it will just wreck you. And especially if you're relying on a protection set with block debuffs, it's very easy. You've got to fight the Viper form twice. It's really easy for one block debuffs to not be protected at least one time against the Viper. It steals block debuffs. And oh, you've got a boss with block debuffs. If you don't have buff strip, you can't control the boss. It gets nasty. And it's actually something Lumpy mentioned here. Decrease resist, increase accuracy could be good. I think that will be very nice for players. Not something that I actually used. Now, I'll also, again, I don't want to clickbait you here, guys. I'm breaking it down everything. This will actually shock you, though. So I tried Krisk in the same team. This was the best that I got. Krisk is tricky. Krisk will be a lot better if you do a little bit of manual. The problem that you face with Krisk is that the boss basically alternates back and forth between the ultimate form and his other forms. And when we set up an AI preset, you've got ultimate... So he spends half the time in ultimate. With Krisk, if you put on Krisk's ally protection, when the Viper form comes, again, even if you run 9-piece protection on Krisk, if one ally protection is not protected and it gets stolen, again, unless you've got some sort of buff strip that's reliable, Krisk is going to die. And when anyone dies against the Viper form, you're basically screwed. It's really, really hard to recover from that, like extremely hard. So I found Krisk very difficult to use. His A3 in this team is useless because we already have increased speed. His A2 you can only use against the Ram and the Lion. And then his A1 decreased speed and his passive are great. But I actually found Skeletor's better. Skeletor was better than Krisk for me in this team, which is bonkers. Both of those made it, as you see, to the turn limit. And then second best, I think he has this has more potential than Skeletor. Nekmothar was really good as well. He has decrease attack, decrease speed. He also has leech, which is great, really nice. And yeah, he also brings you some speed boosting and backup increase speed, which is you can use, and it's actually pretty decent as well. And I actually think Snick Track is amazing for this too. I think Snick Track would be perfect. But there are alternatives, but Skeletor is genuinely really good. What are you looking for? Again, for this team, and I'll break down the roles. We want, yeah, big decrease speed, and you want big decrease attack. Very important. No, we want to include everything. So there are some other champs that can do it. Now, some of these aren't reliable. Nekmothar is good. Krisk is not quite as reliable, but he is a decent option for sure. Your best budget option, I think, no question, Stag Knight. He's really, really strong in this spot. Lamasu actually could be a strong budget option. Block buffs decrease speed and decrease attack. That's actually pretty darn solid. So she'd actually be a really solid option. And actually, her intercept would be really nice as well. I think Lamasu could be great. Maybe she's even better in this team spot, actually. And she's Void as well. So Lamasu, big, big, big one to watch out for. The others are not reliable. Actually, Tomb Lord could work as well in this spot. Pretty reliable, very reliable decrease speed, decrease attack, decrease defense. Not super reliable poisons, though, as well. There are alternatives, but let me show you how it works. Let me show you how it works so well. One thing we're going to see, how much of an impact certain optimizations can have. Look at his Gnut and his Marius, yeah? And then, where was my one? Look at my Gnut and Marius. My Gnut's doing about the same damage as his. My Marius is way ahead. That's where the damage difference is coming from, right? Skeletor is not adding on to that damage difference. But yeah, that's basically what's happening. So, let's go in. Let's look at it. Let me break down the different forms. So, the ultimate form. What we want to do for the ultimate form, pretty simple, right? So, the ultimate form. In fact, let's look at this, and then we'll look at how we set up the skills. The ultimate form, he's going to AoE buff strip everyone and do more damage for each buff stripped. He's going to AoE attack everyone, do more damage for every debuff on him, and put increased speed on him. Then he's going to AoE attack with provoke, and it can also put decreased speed. Basically, we just want to put up block debuffs for this move right here. Protection set to limit the damage of consume matter, and that's sort of it. We want to put block debuffs or strip off the increased speed is very, very important. And yeah, he gets less damage for each enemy with no buffs. So again, protection set is really good. And that's basically that. So that's this form. Let's go. Let me actually speed it up a little bit and walk you through. This form, you fight this form. This is half of the fight. In fact, I think it's slightly more than half the fight. Very ever so slightly more. You get like, yeah. But you fight this a lot. This form is actually pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. I think when you complete lots of trials, this will get worse. I think I completed 5 trials with this team. I think with Nekmothar, I completed 6. So yeah, the Nekmo team, like I said, is probably technically better from the like a clash score perspective and stuff like that. And obviously, I think even Snick Track would be even stronger. And there's other alternatives as well. But yeah, you can see this is basically the form. Very easy, very straightforward. Again, I think we got decrease attack actually fell off. I know it's back on. We are all good. And yeah, that's basically what we're doing. So if we look at the presets we've got for this form, very simple. Ultimate form, Elva, just 1 and 2. Skeletor, we're turning off increased accuracy. I don't need increased accuracy. So this is useless, yeah. Skull Comet, and then just spam his A1. Lydia, decrease defense weaken, strength and increased speed on us. And then she can also put up block buffs. This will stop the boss getting increased speed. Marius, he's going to, this is important, priority 1 on his A2, priority 2 on this. The reason is we mostly want to use this for the extra turn. We want to get as many of these off as possible. And this is what lets him be so much stronger than Gnut, or it's part of what lets him be so much stronger than Gnut. Is he has a 3-turn cooldown, triple hit, enemy max HP, and he can get an extra turn. Whereas Gnut is a 4-turn cooldown, enemy max HP. Marius simply fires it off much more often. Gnut is set up with Blessed Bash, and we turn off Fury of the King. Now, here's the thing. Fury of the King is actually really good against the ultimate form. What's the problem? The problem is, puts counterattack on himself. Now, counterattack, great against ultimate, great against Ram, great against Lion, terrible against Viper. So on full auto, he cannot use Fury of the King against ultimate form or against Viper. because the boss switches from ultimate form into Viper twice. And if counterattack is up and the boss steals counterattack, the A1 on Viper form is brutal and you will just get destroyed. You will get destroyed. So you can't do it, which is a bummer. Again, if you were to manual, you just have him do Fury of the King. And then for the rotation of ultimate before it goes into Viper, it's a set thing every time. For that rotation, you just don't use Fury of the King when there's like a couple of turns. So basically, like probably when he's on turn 4 out of, well, it wouldn't be 4 out of 65, but let him do his A3. He'll do his A2, then his A1. So after he's done his A3 for the second time, don't do the other move. Yeah, you can basically see that. So we go through that first form, and it's pretty straightforward. Now we come to this next form. This next form, there's a lot of tricks. A lot of tricks for this one. I will be honest. I am not 100%. I haven't 100% figured out how to maximize this form, but I figured out a decent chunk of it. So for this form, what's he gonna do? So number one, he's gonna attack an enemy, change buffs positively affecting stats into negative versions. He'll do more damage for every buff he converts, and then he'll repeat this attack if he does more than 20% of the target's max HP. Let's just watch this here. So here I've got a Lydia, and she has like a protected strengthen. He's still going to destroy here. So he's like 24k, 27, 24. Like, this is really tough, actually. So I think there are ways around it, but it's not easy. Krisk can tank it. That's something Krisk can do. Because Krisk will put on decreased attack. But this is a little sketchy. Now, the funny thing is, I'm just letting it happen. And then we just revive Lydia. That was my strategy. Just let it happen and revive Lydia. What he does, where is it? So it's this. At the beginning of his turn, but this is a cooldown. He's going to put Jewel on himself and the enemy with the lowest crit damage. So he puts that on Lydia, and then he kills her. But he doesn't seem to do it again, so Jewel's just gone. So this is the part I'm not sure if there's a point to min-maxing it or what it does. But, I guess there's trials and stuff, but I'm literally just ignoring it. Like, Lydia gets Jewel, Lydia dies. She's the lowest crit damage on the team. That's intentional. She gets targeted. He kills her. Done. No more Jewel. It's just gone, right? Which is hilarious. Now, for this form, we do a couple of very, very important things. So here, actually, the Gnut and Skeletor combo is beautiful because both of these champions have decreased attack. So Gnut tried to place decreased attack weaken. The boss can reflect it back on a 4-turn cooldown. Then it leaves it open to Skeletor to place it. Now, again, on full auto, if Skeletor goes first and he puts decreased attack, decreased speed, it gets thrown back. Then at least Gnut can land a decreased attack. Decreased attack is the most important thing, just to minimize the damage that is going on. You see, we revive Lydia and there's just no Jewel. The Jewel's just gone. So yeah, that's the thing. And we do a bunch of weird stuff for this particular form. Again, this is where the A1 from Skeletor is great, just to extend the decreased speed and increase attack and just maintain them. But what we do for this form sucks because of this passive. When attacked, reflects 25% of the damage the Chimera receives back to the attacker, unless you're under Jewel. So I don't think this is dependent on if the Chimera has Jewel. I think it's like if Lydia still had Jewel, I think all of my champions would still be taking the reflected damage, but Lydia would not, right? So I don't think this really matters. But again, this is just bonkers. 25% reflect damage. It will just one-shot your damage dealers all the time. So what we're going to do for this, it is ridiculous. We are going to come in, and for the Ram form, Elva's the same, Skeletor is the same. Lydia, we are going to turn off her A2 and her A3. Marius, we're going to turn off his enemy max HP attack. Gnut, we're going to turn off his enemy max HP attack. We're not doing any damage to the Ram form. Our goal is just to sit there and get it over with as quickly as possible. Now, on top of that, the Ram form is vulnerable to fear and true fear, which is nice, but it's super random. So when he's under fear, true fear, damage reduction effect from Jewel does not activate. Again, this doesn't matter for this strat because I've no idea. Maybe he does have damage reduction from Jewel. Honestly, I guess damage reduction from Jewel is maybe weirdly good because it helps you not kill yourself. It's weird. This is a weird form, but it's a bummer. The chance of fear and true fear activating are reduced by 25%. So it doesn't happen much, and it gives them 50% turn meter when it does happen. But we are basically going to let Lydia just spam her A1, land the fears, and hope he's going to miss some turns. Like there, he didn't miss a turn. We're all getting stunned. Hilariously, these debuffs are actually quite less crit rate and crit damage. Yes, please. Means I'm not going to kill myself. Like, look, that's a Gnut A1, and he's getting a little bit chunked. Marius A1 again, doing a bit of damage to him. We're trying to get the fears out. Lydia's dead again. That's fine. Fine. We'll just cleanse off the stuns and whatnot. And like we're not doing any damage to this boss form. We are literally just like, just get through it, guys. Let's just get out of this form. Maybe I should just have Gnut open with the A2. Actually, maybe setting it as an opener would be nice, just to land decrease stack at the start and then turn it off. But yeah, and then he switches back into Form 1. He nukes you. You do need quite a lot of defensive stats to survive this because he hits you hard. And this is also where you can see the protection set's been really important to not just get killed. Because if he stripped all those buffs, he would have hit us harder and we would have died. Yeah, maybe we actually come in. Maybe that's a good idea. And we actually say Gnut, especially because he's not going to use it in that form. We'll actually say don't use this, but open with it so he doesn't counterattack as much. And also don't use that. That might be better. But yeah, so that's that form. Yeah, that's that form. We basically just chill and wait for it to be over. Wait for the pain to end, because there's no point in trying to do damage, at least from what I can see right now. I'm sure people can work it out, but yeah, again, we're baiting the duel onto Lydia. My intent was that Lydia would be perfect, right, to be the duel person. Just spam it. You're forced to spam A1s in duel. She's doing that anyway. Would have been great. I was intending to keep her alive, but it didn't happen, so I don't know. I don't know, man. Who knows? Right. Then we come to, so we do the ultimate form again, and you can, like, I mean, look at this. So we went into the Ram form with 15 million damage. We left the Ram form, we left Ram form with 16 million damage. We did nothing, right? We are literally just chilling. We are doing nothing. Then we come back to the ultimate form. You do a lot of damage to the ultimate form, and here we go. He switches to the Lion form. Lion form, super freaking easy with this team. Lion form is great. This is your, I'm getting damage for free form. Absolutely free. Great form. What's happening in the Lion form? In the Lion form, he's just going to be doing like single target damage, and it's really easy to live for whatever reason. So at the beginning of his turn, he's going to put Hunter's Gaze on the enemy with the highest defense. And he's going to try like target, you can't block it, you can't resist it, and he's going to target them. I believe Hunter's Gaze makes like defensive buffs like not help. But it goes on your highest defense person, so it's really not that bad. Hang on, let's see it over here. Let's see it over here. More info. Let's get the exact definition of Hunter's Gaze. It's this one here. Damage dealt to champions under this cannot be decreased, blocked, redirected, or transferred. Applies to damage dealt by skills, not from debuffs, passive masteries, or blessings. It will ignore unkillable block damage, increase defense, strengthen ally protection, veil, perfect veil, and shield. You can still evade. So I think you're supposed to like maybe have a champion with evade. I think Loki's the only one. But I mean, honestly, I found that Gnut was able to... Gnut tanks it just fine, guys. Gnut tanks it just fine. So we're coming into this one, and Gnut's just going to... Like, he's going to smack Gnut, but Gnut lives. Gnut just lives. One thing that was really nice for the Nekmothar version of this form is because you can put counterattack on Gnut, and Nekmothar places Leech. Every time Gnut gets smacked, he'll counterattack, and he'll heal himself to full with Leech. So Leech is amazing with Gnut in this. So yeah, I mean, Gnut's just... I found this form super easy. There's no real special stuff. Decrease attack just to help you live. Again, decrease attack, decrease speed, every single form, every single time. And for this one, we just go full out damage, and you just get loads of damage. So this move, I don't know. What's he even doing with that move? That's his A2. It puts a bunch of debuffs. We're just cleansing it off. It wasn't any trouble at all. Like, he didn't have, it seemed to me, a follow-up that made it scary. Over here. So yeah, he did triple hit against Gnut. Gnut's fine. Decrease defense, weaken. He places those. Again, Gnut was fine. Then he debuff spread them onto everybody. Again, that was totally fine as well. It didn't matter. And then he'll attack anyone that got decreased defense or weaken. And he gets turn meter. I guess the downside is he's going to get some turn meter, but this will also get blocked by block debuffs sometimes. We just didn't have block debuffs at that time. So you just have Elva putting up block debuffs, and it should really stop it. When you cleanse, when Elva cleanses these debuffs, the boss is going to hit Gnut. So watch this. The boss is going to smack you. but it really doesn't, again, it doesn't do much. This form's just really easy. I think my Gnut had about 6,000 defense. He's got a 3-star blessing, and he's chilling, man. Like, no stress. The boss's A1 can hit more people, but again, because we're using all tanky champions, it's totally fine. And yeah, I mean, you can see this form. We just lay the debuffs on, and we just like blast damage pretty much. That's like the whole fight. That's the whole fight. So here we go. He's gonna whatever smack Gnut a few times. Look at that, almost huge damage from Marius. Marius is just crazy. He smacks Gnut with his was that his A1? Yeah, that was his A1. Basically, he doesn't really do anything that matters. Let's see his A2 here. I'm pretty sure if you got block debuffs, it doesn't do anything. So you just have Elva try to maintain block debuffs as much as you can. Because the longer the boss is in this form, the better. Oh yeah, unfortunately, we don't have the block debuffs. Up there, he just didn't even... I think we resisted some of it, or I don't know. I don't even know. Honestly, that form, super easy. I'm like, look, we went into that form at 26 million damage. We walked away with like 40. This form is great. Wait, am I looking at the right thing? Yeah, I am. Yeah, we went in with 26 million. We walked out with actually 43. Yeah, 43 million. Super chill. Now Marius died when the boss swaps back and instantly does his A3. Kill Marius. That's fine. We revive him and we do the ultimate form again. Again, we go from like 43 million to like 61. Now this is the hardest part of the fight, especially if you full auto. The Viper head is disgusting. The Viper head is horrible. So he swaps to the Viper head, removes all of his debuffs, and there's nothing you can do. He just comes into this, no debuffs, right? And he attacks all enemies. Before attacking, he steals all buffs from all enemies. Like I said, the big problem with this is block debuffs. If you've got a protection set, even 9 pieces, you only have a 75% chance to protect block debuffs. So I think actually here I get lucky, if I'm not wrong. If I remember this, I get lucky. Every single one of them is protected. Okay, so the boss can't steal them. This is really risky. This is where you are so much better off manualing this one. So you make Elva wait until after this A3. Let him do the A3, and then you do the Elva cleanse. Or whoever your cleanser is, whoever your block debuff champion is, do it after. Do it after this. Because protection set can never make this 100%. Sometimes the boss will steal block debuffs, and then you're really screwed. Now, luckily, we do have our boy Skeletor. He can just steal that block debuffs right back, which is fantastic, but it's awkward. You can see he's also stealing the Marius buffs. Again, it becomes kind of annoying, right? It's just a nice damage boost. It's a big damage boost for Marius to leave his A3 on for all of the ultimate forms on auto, but when the ultimate form swaps into this Viper form, the increased defense, increased accuracy are just a pretty big negative, actually. So yeah, that sucks. But again, I think it's better just to leave Marius with that move on because it gives you so much damage. But we come in and yeah, unfortunately we got an unlucky decreased defense resist, which sucked. But here we go. Again, we have him set to automatically do that. He's going to steal block debuffs and one other buff, and you're good. You could also get, I mean, preferably, the easiest way to do it is just not use Skeletor's A3, or if you're using like Krisk or Snicktrack or whoever, you just, you can't steal buffs with them. And the easiest thing by far is just to wait for this A3 to happen and then cleanse everything off, right? Because this A3, it steals all the buffs, then it puts out a bunch of poisons, poison sensitivity, and it blows the poisons up as well. But the poisons last a really long time. It's really nice. You really want to cleanse those off, get block debuffs up, because on his next move, he's going to attack everybody for big damage, put out Hex heal reduction, blow up all your poisons, and transfer all debuffs to you, and give him a bunch of turn. This is really, really, really bad. This will end your run. The best way to deal with it, unfortunately, is either to speed... It's very, very hard to speed tune this. I don't know how you would, but maybe you could speed tune it to get it right. Or yeah, just like I said, a tiny bit of manual to make sure it goes well. But once you get past that initial part, this wombo combo will get you. Now, with this team in particular, we are then able to land the debuffs. He does throw them back once, but did that already happen, or is he going to do it? I'm not sure. We'll find out. This is where Skeletor is great, because this block active skills, it's hard to keep it up the whole time, but Skeletor can extend it with his with his A1. So that's great. There we go. He just extended block. This is where his A1 is amazing. Because the boss will now spam his A1. And this is actually kind of rough. This is where Skeletor is actually super, super good. Because this A1 sucks, right? He has a 50% chance to place all, like he petrifies someone, he froze someone, he can stun you, he can do all of that stuff. It's pretty nasty, and it does some okay damage. It's gonna crowd control you. Again, you just want block debuffs up as much as possible to stop it. But once you get block active skills on, that's all he does, and you're good. Yeah, so that makes it a hell of a lot easier. Otherwise, you're relying on protection buffs, or maybe you're gonna build a Latreon. Now, what's extra scary here is, again, if anybody dies at any point, extra scary. So again, imagine you go into the fight and your block debuffs isn't lined up correctly. Uh-oh, the boss stole block debuffs. He's got all of our buffs. We've got all these poisons on. Then he's smashing us. Somebody dies. Once somebody dies, you are screwed. Why? Revives on this form are weaker, but more importantly, he will block your first revive attempt. So, a single target reviver like Elva is screwed. She can't revive everyone, only one person. And whenever anyone is dead, the boss does 2 extra things. Number 1, he has this new necrosis debuff that the new mythical is going to have. So you will see that. Anyone dead, necrosis is out there, which is basically a permanent poison stack on everyone who's alive for every dead enemy. You end up taking a ton of extra damage from this, and it will really wear you down unless you got loads of healing. And number 2, his A1, if anyone is dead, he does an extra hit. This will do a lot of damage. I don't know if it has extra chances to place these debuffs. It felt like it did, but I don't know. But literally, like, if somebody dies, the boss is going to be just blitzing you with this A1. He's going to be blitzing you with necrosis. It gets really, really difficult, and it's really hard to revive them. And yeah, again, if you only have a single target reviver like Elva, you will be screwed. But with this team, you can see it's actually very simple. If you do a tiny bit of manual, this happened to line up perfectly on auto, but I really would recommend manualing it. We got lucky, protection set landed on everything. I mean, you could just rerun the fight multiple times until you get that sort of luck and you get protected block debuffs on enough members of your group to make it through. The best thing to do is, if you're using a champ like Elva, wait for the A3, then cleanse off the stuff with block debuffs, and then you're good. And then you'll be able to try land the block actives with Lydia. If you don't have a debuff extender like Skeletor, you might want to let the boss do his A1 and then put block active skills on to block the full 2 turns of this, right? Because they're the nasty moves. The buff strip, his A3 in particular, is nasty. You can't stop it the first time. You want to stop him doing it a second time. Pretty important. Good news is, once you get past this, he's pretty squishy, so you'll do a decent chunk. Like, what do we do there? We can't... actually, we didn't do that much. Yeah, so he came in... he went in like 60 million. We only went out with like 66. We didn't do that much there, unfortunately. You got the ultimate form again, and then you repeat the whole fight, and boom, we zip on through, and we're good. So what I did, I think I did manual the last flip, because I was like, man, this is going to be my best run. So I manual this last little bit. So this is what you do. This is the manual sort of strategy. So we're coming in. The boss is going to be flipping. He's going to do his A2. Great. Turn 55. He flips on turn 56. He doesn't do an A1 a second time. He flips over. So what I said I want to do is, I actually didn't save the Lydia thing. I said, I'm just going to stop Elva. And I think I stopped Marius as well. We'll find out. Maybe I think I did this. Oh, yeah. So you can see because of increased speed, I was hoping it would just work on auto, but I was like, oh, no, I'm pretty sure Elva is going to use her A2 literally right before the boss flips, which is worst case scenario. If she uses her A2 right before the boss flips, you're entirely relying on protection. And if it goes wrong, there's no coming back because you don't have a cleanse for ages. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take it off auto. Just do an A1. It's that simple. Marius, because his stuff will also get stolen, we'll just do an A1. And then we're good. Just, I think we just probably click auto at that point. And look, so this is what, like, look at that damage. Like, you get smacked, guys. You get freaking smacked by that A3. But it's okay. We're going to survive it. Elva cleanses. We're all on half HP. But now the boss's moves are not going to do anything. We might even land block active skills at this point. This is by far, yeah, she's landed block active skills. He's just going to do his A1. This is by far the hardest part of the fight, in my opinion. The ram form also sucks, but like I said, with the ram form, we are literally just sitting back and doing nothing. That's our goal. We're sitting back and we're doing nothing and just waiting for the damn form to end. Lion form and ultimate form are pretty nice. And here, these were the trials that we did. So you can't pause. Unfortunately, you can't pause and look at them. You have to turn off auto to look at them. There's a little tip. So the trials we did 5 trials, which is letting him ignore unkillable and block damage. It's giving him more attack and crit damage. Every time you complete 3 trials in battle, Chimera grows in strength and so on. Yeah, and get stat boosts. I think doing these trials not only gives you some more loot, but I think it also ups your Chimera Clash score. I'm not in the Chimera Clash on the test server, but I believe Chimera Clash is going to really incentivize doing trials. This team is not fully optimized for trials. I did 5. Not fully optimized. There are definitely substitutes you can make for the champion. Like I said, put in Nekmothar or Snicktrack instead of Skeletor, and you're going to be able to do more trials, and so on. Yeah, there's definitely substitutions, and that's where the end game for this is going to go. It's not going to be just about doing damage. It's going to be getting the 1 key while doing as many trials as possible. So, for example, here, for the ram form, do damage while he's under fear, true fear. Now, we were keeping fear and true fear up nearly the whole time. We didn't come anywhere close. This is actually extremely difficult. It's very hard to keep people alive. Like, they will just die. So, I don't really know. This is actually surprisingly hard. The reflect damage is so not. I actually feel like it's probably too punishing, honestly. But yeah, I'm sure there's some ways around it, but it's not easy. Put 7 debuffs on him within 5 turns while you're under increased accuracy. This team doesn't have increased accuracy. Oh, I guess it actually. You know what? Maybe I could have done that. Actually, I guess I could have. If we should probably leave Skeletor increased accuracy on, we could have done that trial. Well, that's stupid. Okay, so there you go. Leave increased accuracy on for the round form. Just for that, do a trial. Skeletor, bringing some value. Do damage while it's under decreased defense. You're under perfect fail. Again, it's just so hard to do damage. I didn't bother, but there is an entire gemstone reward for that, so that's pretty good. For the lion form, we did a bunch of the trials. So we did trial 1. Damage him while he's under 6 or more debuffs, and you're under increased defense. Doesn't count counterattacks. Very easy. Marius, you're done. Marius and Lydia, and you're pretty much done. We did not finish the next one. Absorb damage with shields. We don't have any. No shields, so doesn't work. We did easy, the middle one on easy. Damage him within 3 of his turns while you're under 5 unique buffs. Again, pretty easy. Doesn't count damage scales based on enemy max HP. So for this team, we're nearly all using enemy max HP. Most of our damage, is enemy max HP. It's like War Master, Giant Slayer. It's Marius A2, it's Gnut A3. So this took a while. We actually did it on turn 20 of 65. Not too bad. And then we did the normal difficulty one as well. Damage him while he's under decreased speed and decreased defense. We actually did that on turn 20 as well. So that's pretty easy. Damage him with counterattacks and ally attack. I actually did half of this just with like Gnut. And I actually do have counterattack accessories on Skeletor. This seems like pretty easy to do for some mythical ocular masses. Ally attack is probably going to be really nice against this boss. So yeah, I think that one is actually pretty doable with the right team comp. Obviously with ours, not quite. If you had 2 Gnuts, maybe you might get close, but it's a little tricky. Then damage it with Leech. You can do that in Nekmothar or Snicktrack. 10 debuffs within 2 turns. One of the debuffs must be decreased resistance. That's hard. Skeletor actually does that for you, but you need Leech from somewhere else, which I didn't have. I think that's basically it. Oh, it's hard. Damaging with reflect damage, pain link, or passive reflect damage effects. You have to do 2 million damage. That's pretty hard, honestly. Then we did a couple of easy ones in the Viper. So we managed to do damaging while he's under block active skills. Easy peasy. Lydia lets you do that, which is great. Skeletor makes it a bit easier. Damaging while he's under block buffs and HP burn. We don't have any burn. Though Lydia also covers block buffs. Lydia is so strong for this fight. And then damage him while it's under 10 debuffs. It must not be under block active skills. That's really difficult. That's not easy. We aren't able to do any poison stuff. We did the easy one. Damage him within 3 turns while he's under decrease attack your champions are under increased speed. I think that's very easy. And yeah, then damaging with a single skill while you're under increased attack and block debuffs. Again, that's pretty easy. We just don't have any increased attack on this team. We don't have it. There you go. Let me show you. That's how the team went. And yeah, as you see, we did a massive amount of damage here, which was pretty sick. I think it was 154 million or something. 153 million damage. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Like, obviously, probably to maximize this, you might run the Skeletor with the Brimstone and Lydia with Cruelty would be better. I don't know. Yeah, I could switch it. Like, it's not gonna make that much difference. By the way, I put Harmonic Impulse on Elva because the boss can put True Fear in 2 of its forms. So I was like, that would help, right? In case stuff goes wrong, having Harmonic Impulse might be a good idea. There's not much else to give her, to be fair, to make it much better. Gnut Soul Reef for dungeons, it's entirely useless here. Literally does nothing, which kind of sucks. But if I show you, you've seen the team setup. Let me show you the champions. So we had Lydia, 9-piece protection. I do think that 9-piece Feral might actually be better because she's got decreased defense weaken. She also has poison sensitivity, block active skills, and block buffs. She can have many debuffs up. He's also vulnerable to fear in one of the forms. So I do think that, yeah, I do think that Feral 9-piece might be just as good. But I tried 9-piece protection, and it's fine. Yeah, I don't know. Perhaps having the protected strengthen is very nice for surviving when he swaps back to the ultimate form. That's where he strips your buffs, and he hits you harder the more buffs he strips. Having a protected strengthen definitely makes it easier to survive that. But then again, like, I did not use this move at all against, what was it, the Ram form? Like, we turned it off, and we survived the switch back to ultimate form just fine. So I do think I probably will try 9-piece Feral, but 9-piece protection is good too. No relics. She has Brimstone because she's 6-star. Brimstone, it added a bit of damage, right? She did 12 million. Compared to Skeletor, did 8 million. Like, it added about 4 million. It added a decent chunk on, to be honest. So it's probably worth bringing, actually, at least one Brimstone. And then she had these masteries. I think, extended buffs, extended debuffs, War Master. Pretty standard stuff for Lydia, honestly. We had Elva. Elva's really nice for this. The great thing about Elva is she brings you a cleanse with block debuffs, increased speed, and a revive, and lots of healing, which is lovely. Speed aura, which is also really good. And the great thing is that, like, she's great for arena, but you're probably fine, right? You can probably get away with not needing Elva in arena, which means you can build her in, like, for PvE in 9-piece protection. This is a huge deal. Not only is it giving you a nice bit of extra damage, like a very decent chunk of extra damage, but the protective buffs are really good. Actually, I think Lydia would be even better for Lydia to be in Feral, honestly, because Elva is doing protected speed. So the Lydia speed is not... I guess they could... If Lydia overwrites Elva's speed, you lose the 5% damage, but yeah, I think Feral will actually be better for Lydia. Anyway, it is what it is. But that's Elva. She's in 9-piece protection, and she is built like this. I'm trying to get everyone very fast, and we're also trying to arrange the crit damage. Like, I think I had to give her a crit damage necklace. Oh, no, I didn't, but one with some mythical crit damage. Because I was trying to get Lydia to be the target. So I built Lydia intentionally with the lowest crit damage to get her to be targeted by Jewel. I built her pretty tanky, guys. She's 100,000 HP, 4,000 defense. She had a protected strengthen, and the boss still just killed her. In whatever form that was. Was it ram form or lion form? I don't remember which one. But, like, the boss just killed her. So I don't know how... I'm not sure how you're supposed to survive that, to be completely honest. Like, that's pretty rough. I guess you need a shield buff. I don't know. A shield buff or be Krisk. It's pretty rough. Skeletor... I think he would be perfect in 9-piece Feral, but I don't have any Feral accessories for Knight's Revenant. So he is in... Check this out. 2 sets of Retaliation and Perception, and then he's got 3 Revenge accessories. I thought this was fun, right? Because his A1 is really nice, increasing debuff duration. It's great. So just let him counterattack. Lots of the boss's attacks are AoE. Why not? More counterattacks, more damage. So we built him to be tanky. Again, high speed, high accuracy. Yeah, it's, just counterattack stuff. And he has War Master, and he has making his debuffs be more consistent and last longer. That's mostly for the decreased resistance. But yeah, I think he'd be perfect in Feral because he brings decreased resist, he brings decreased speed, decreased accuracy, right? He's got 3 debuffs. That's 15% damage from Feral. That's probably a lot better than the Retaliation, but Retaliation was good. And like I said, we turned off his A3 pretty much. You can set it to open against the Viper. And yeah, none of that. And yeah. Who else did we have in this team? I've already forgotten. We had Marius and Gnut. Well, let's look at Gnut first. Then let's look at the damage MVP, Marius. Why is he so insane? So this is Gnut. He's 3-star. I put him in lethal. Now, this is really interesting. The boss seems to have really weird capped damage. To understand Marius and Gnut, you have to understand that. So it seems like, let's say against whatever, Hydra, yeah? There's a cap for enemy max HP. Decrease defense, weaken, feral, protection, whatever, lethal, whatever, can help you to reach that cap, but they don't affect the cap. It seems to me that there's a cap for Chimera, but having these extra damage buffs helps you go beyond that cap, if that makes sense. I don't know exactly how it works or what's going on, but it seems to be the case that even though there's a cap on enemy max HP, it even says it in the boss guide, the enemy max HP is capped. You can go beyond that by stacking feral and protection sets. Yeah, and I think lethal as well. So I switched my Gnut into and out of lethal, and his damage definitely went up a lot with lethal, even though we had decreased defense, weaken on the boss most of the time. Lethal was still making his damage go way up. So I think you want Gnut in maybe Merciless, honestly. Maybe Merciless for maximum damage. But he's coming in with... Actually, no, sorry. Only 5,400 defense. And like, he was tanking up the... You know the big single target damage for him? It sounds really scary. Freaking Gnut was just tanking it with 5.5k defense. Great. Job done. 259 speed. 261. He has a bit of accuracy. Again, he doesn't have enough. I think you need about 400-ish for Ultra Nightmare. But the decreased resist and increased accuracy from... Decreased resist from Skeletor, increased accuracy from Marius are helping him to land his debuffs, which is cool. He has Soul Reap, which is useless. And I think standard masteries, Giant Slayer, pretty much it. So he's good. Gnut's great because a lot of people have him. Now, Marius is on another level. Again, just to reiterate, Marius almost doubled Gnut's damage. He is disgusting. He's at 0-star. I do have very good gear on him, though. So I have him in 9 pieces of Slayer. This is crazy. So this is 30% ignore defense, which, again, just makes him do more damage. I don't know why, but it does. And then he also has a 30% chance to do extra damage. So it roughly ends up being like 50% from one of his hits, right? So if he does a triple hit skill and this procs once, it's kind of like a 3.5 hit. So it's actually a massive damage boost. So 9-piece Slayer Marius is a freaking monster for this. No Relic, no Blessing either. He's just disgusting. And he's got Helm Smasher. Maybe I should put Helm Smasher on Gnut. I don't know. But you're obviously going to run Helm Smasher and Marius for Arena. I think these are just pretty standard Arena masteries, honestly. And he's just smashing things. Again, you don't like his accuracy, and this is pretty much useless for him for this fight. He might be better off in the defense tree, but I think the accuracy tree is so strong for his A1 for Arena. But yeah, Marius is freaking bonkers. Yeah, he's bonkers. I do think Wallmaster Atharion would be good as well. He'd be good. I think Acrizia actually will see a bit of a resurgence for this boss. Acrizia should be great. Wrong faction. Nope. Acrizia should be a really strong option because she, number one, takes half damage from AoE, which is a lot of what the boss is doing. Great. She's got double hit, enemy max HP there, double hit, enemy max HP there, single hit, enemy max HP there, but with decreased defense, which is pretty nice. I think she should actually be pretty good. Like, she should... And she even gives herself a shield, which is nice. So I think Acrizia might see a bit of a resurgence for this boss. It just seems to me that's very, very strong. But I don't know. Maybe there's other teams. I'm very curious. But guys, that was the best team that I was able to make. That's how I did. And yeah, again, very, very happy. The damage results, 153 million against Force Affinity right there, which is more than enough for this ultimate chest. The gearing is pretty intense. But I'm very curious how this team could be improved. Like, you can obviously get better champions than Skeletor, like I said. Lydia is pretty fantastic, and you probably just use her. And if you got Marius, like I'm guessing most people, you're just going to use Lydia Marius, and then you're going to be looking for some sort of block debuffs. You're going to be looking for decreased speed, decreased attack is essential, I think. And yeah, like for this, honestly, for this team, we could take out the Gnut, and we still one key. We probably would. Like if we went from 46 million to 8, we lost 38 million. Yeah, we'd still one key if we took out Gnut. That's kind of crazy, actually. Marius could solo this thing. That's nuts. That's nuts. Now, Slayer's a pay-to-win set, but God, Marius can solo it. You can solo the fight, and you can switch Gnut for anything. That's crazy. Guys, that's my team. I will be back with plenty more guides when we have the actual stats for the boss, when we get to see lots of all of the community jumping in, trying the boss. I'm sure there's going to be so many strategies that I haven't even begun to think about, but this is what I have done so far, building off of what Boozor did. And yeah, I was kind of worried when I first tried this boss with Ninja. Like, he's the wrong affinity for this rotation, but I was still like, man, it sucks. But yeah, ended up being really, really good. Also, just in case you needed to be told, Skeletor and Gnut will be pretty crap against Magic Affinity. So you're going to need something different for Magic Affinity. It's actually a bit of a problem. A lot of the alternatives I suggested for Skeletor were Spirit. So I think Magic Affinity for this boss will actually be quite tricky for a lot of people, unless I'm missing an obvious champion. I don't know. But like Stagnite, Tomb Lord, Nick Track even. Yeah, got a lot of them are Spirit. I don't know. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.